Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Madison podcast. I am your host for today, whether you like it or not. Ben Lavender, New York's favorite British mortgage broker, again, whether you like it or not. And we have a very, very special guest today, someone that I have tremendous respect for, who's been in the business for a little bit and is doing really, really well. And I also consider a very good friend, Mr. Mark Metzler. I always ask on every podcast if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Did I hit
You did, actually. And
okay.
I get a lot of
It's
Meltzers,
traditional.
so I really appreciate that you actually pronounced it Metzler. Metzler. Like New York Mets.
Yes.
And I tell it to people all the
But
time.
better. And
And
you
they
win.
screw it up.
Yeah. That's the name of the game. Well, welcome,
That's
man.
it. Thank you.
Glad
Thanks for
to have
having me.
you on finally.
Yes.
We are excited. So, Mark, let's kind of dive in
Yeah.
to you, man. Tell us about like the beginning of your career, because I think a lot of people who will watch this or even like see some of the feed on social, like somewhere where you're really going to shine is being a newer agent to the industry, but basically crushing it.
Yeah.
Right. To not to brag too much. Well, I'm bragging for you, so there
Yeah.
you go. So you're doing really, really
I do
great,
all right.
and I think a lot of people, whether you're a veteran in the business or you're a newbie in the business, can really learn a lot from a guy like Mark. That, you know, even though I just kind of brag for him, but I feel Mark, you take like a humble approach to the business. You work hard, and yeah, man. But take it away. Tell us how you got into the business, why you love the business, all that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of you know, if you're watching this on social, that I used to be in automotive detailing. I'm a big car guy, just like Ben. That's why we're friends. Aside from that, we're not really friends. It's just cars. Don't let him fool you. So I was an automotive detailer for a little while, you know, just hustling, you know, constantly doing side work, trying to make as much money as possible. But eventually I came to the realization that doesn't really pay the bills as much as I wanted it to. So I got into personal finance and investing and all that good stuff, and realized I needed a higher income career and something I can control a lot more than, you know, just a 9-to-5 making, let's say, $20 an hour. And so I started looking into car sales because I like cars, all that good stuff. Spoke to a few car salesmen. They said, absolutely not, don't do it.
Really?
And it's because like the whole Carvana thing and the internet buying,
'Cause
people
it's
don't care.
on its way out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people don't care. You can buy a car online, have it delivered to your house. People don't know the difference. You know, you say, I want a red RAV4. Okay, great. It's delivered. But you can't exactly do that with real estate. Not to mention, you can't build a relationship. So if, you know, Ben goes out and buys a Maserati tomorrow and 3 years down the road, he says, you know, I'm not really a fan of Maseratis right now because they have this new Mercedes that's out. I just lost Ben as a customer because I sold him a Maserati and now I can't sell him a Mercedes-Benz because I only work at Maserati. So, you know, you lost that relationship and now you got to wait another 3 years to hopefully sell you another Maserati. I don't want to take that chance. So I started looking into real estate sales and
So what actually made you look into real estate to begin with?
So I got into real estate investing because my father's a landlord and I wanted to learn more about it so that I could, you know, set myself up for financial freedom. I started watching Graham Stephan on YouTube. I don't know if you're familiar.
Not familiar, no.
He's a real estate agent out in, he was in California, now he's in Vegas. And now he's a full-blown YouTuber making like $6 million a year. But he got into real estate sales at 18 years old and started real estate investing, owns quite a few properties, and that's the main reason that I got into real estate sales.
Gotcha.
So the more I learned about it, the more I realized I could do it.
Okay,
And
so
got into it, got licensed, and joined a brokerage in December of 2019.
so how did you even go about doing that? Because I feel a lot of people want to jump into the business, and I'm not saying everyone should jump into the
No,
business,
please
right?
don't.
Because there's some statistic, right? Like within a year, 2 years, like 80% of the new people drop out.
I would say even closer to 90.
90. Okay, so obviously, if you're going to jump in, know what you're getting into. It's because it's not like it is on TV, right? Where it's like everything is so easy and it's just like pick 1, 2, or the third property.
Yeah.
It's a grind. It's very rewarding, both monetarily and I feel emotionally, at least on the mortgage side.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are helping people do things that, you know, are very, very difficult to do, to buy a house, to get qualified, to get offers accepted. But sorry, continue, Mark.
Yeah. So Yeah, it was. I started in December of 2019. I started getting into the licensing course, which is a 75-hour course here in New York, and it's super, super easy. Don't let anybody tell you it's difficult.
Okay.
If it's difficult, don't get into real estate. That's my piece of advice for you. Okay. And so you do the 75-hour course. You can do it online. You can do it in person. I did it online because I used to work 8 to 5, go to the gym from like 6 to 7, maybe 8 o'clock, come home, study real estate, and then go to sleep, start all over again.
How long did you study for?
Months. I just did, a couple hours a night. And at first I was paying really, really close attention to everything that was in the course. And then somebody told me you'll never use any of that information ever again, which is very true.
Yeah.
You'll learn how many square feet are in an acre, and that's about it. That's all you need to know, guys. Just so you know. Everything else is just sales skills. So
it doesn't teach you the sales side of the
no,
business.
not a thing. And it doesn't teach you how to meet clients. It doesn't teach you how to do anything. It just teaches you how to not get sued. Which is what your broker's there for.
Well, to be fair, that is important.
It's important, but
it doesn't set you up for success.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But you finish the 75-hour course, you take a couple tests, Again, if you fail the test, seriously, you're either a bad test taker, which happens, or you're not meant for this career. Just another piece of advice for you. You take the test and then you sign with a brokerage. And my one thing is I wish I interviewed more brokerages, but I'm very happy with where I am.
Okay, so can you expand on that? Because I feel like because this business is so challenging and there is so much to learn, mentorship is key. And we have another mentorship aspect that you got into recently, which I don't want to touch on now. We'll get to it. But how should an agent really go about interviewing brokerages and selecting the right place for them? So
it's difficult when you're a new agent because you have no idea what to expect. You don't know what, if I come in and I offer you a 50% split and I say, we'll give you a couple of leads a month, you're going to be like, oh, cool. This is great.
Yeah.
And then you walk into a different brokerage and they give you a 60% split and they give you a website and a CRM and all that good stuff. And they're like, crap, the 50% sounded really good. What else is out there? So I would tell people interview as many as possible, but the best piece of advice that I wish I took is go to the absolute best brokerage in the town that you want to work in and go to try and position yourself to work on the best team there. Because if they're successful, they have all the systems in place. They have all the branding in place. They have a name for themselves. They probably have a lot of listings for you to leverage. And that's what I would tell newer agents is to do. Go to the best team at the best brokerage in the nicest area that you can find and join.
If they'll let you.
If they'll let you. Yeah, you have to position yourself to work there.
So what does that mean to you to position yourself? Like to show grind, grit?
Show, humility, show, be coachable, just show up, say, hey, listen, I'm willing to work hard. I will do 2 to 3 open houses a weekend. I am going to be here every day, etc. I feel like it's either in you or it's not. You have to show up and be a hard worker.
Yeah.
And a lot of people show up and expect business to be handed to them. Doesn't work.
It does not.
No.
Yeah, a common thing that I hear on the mortgage side is like a newer realtor will enter the business because their grandma is looking to sell their home.
Yeah.
And then their mom or whatever the case may be, and then after that they have zero business and they drop out. So for a newer agent, Mark, I mean, obviously we don't want to give away all the secrets, but beyond the immediate family member who just told you that they're selling their home, like how would a new agent go about even getting business? I mean, I know there are a million ways, but the newer ones.
So I was sort of fortunate and sort of not fortunate at the same time because I moved into an area where I had no sphere. I had no family. I've gotten like 2 deals from my sphere, and they're both, on the buy side, they were smaller deals. And while they were my first deals, they were smaller deals. And they were not in the area that I want to work in. And right now I would refer those deals out. But there's a million ways, like you said, to find new business. Go out there, meet people. I used to meet people at Starbucks pre-COVID, sit down, have a cup of coffee, work on a laptop. If you're going to work on a laptop at the office, you can work on a laptop at Starbucks. Yeah. And then,
and the purpose of that, I assume, is to meet people.
Just generate business, talk to people, build relationships, like meet some guy, comment on, his watch. Maybe he's got a really nice watch on. Maybe he's got
Maybe
really
he
nice
doesn't
shoes
and say it
on.
anyway.
Yeah, maybe he's got it. Maybe he pulls up in a nice Lexus or something like that, and you're like, oh, how do you like that car? I met a guy at the gas station.
Are you
the other
making
day.
fun of my Lexus, Mark?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Maybe he's got a nice Lexus. That's what I said. It's nicer than my Honda. Let's put it that way. All right.
I'll keep it humble here.
Yeah. So it's
So you're saying you met a guy at the gas station that way?
Yeah. I mean, I walked out of the gas station the other day. The guy had an X5, one of the newer ones with the M5 or M50. So I walked up to him. I was like, hey, listen, does that ride nice? And he was just like, what? And I was like, I know it's super weird. I'm just a random guy at a gas station. It's 11 o'clock at night. But does that vehicle ride nice? Because I'm looking into getting one. And him and I had a great conversation. Honestly, he just listed his home up in Armonk. So I'm like, if I had met you 2 weeks earlier,
yeah, you would have got it.
But you can build relationships very easily if you're a nice person.
Yeah.
And you just have to talk about something that interests them. The guy special ordered his car.
You.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be like, hello, random person, I'm a realtor, use me for everything.
Exactly.
You have to take genuine interest in someone.
Yeah. And pick pick something that they're passionate about, which is a little bit hard sometimes, but also pick something you're passionate about. So like, I'm a car guy. I like coffee. I like, whiskeys. I like all that good stuff. Pick something that you can relate to the potential client with and go from there. Maybe they have a really nice house. Maybe they have a really nice watch. Like I said, something that you guys connect on, you'll build that relationship, and people want to work with, friends. They don't always want to work with the best.
Yeah. That's a really good point. It's who you know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be the best person on the planet, but you have to know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And that's why as a newer agent, you have a broker. You have someone to handhold you through that transaction.
Yeah.
So what about, Mark, I think this is a key one for newer people in the business. And again, this applies to both realtors and new mortgage people, right? Is imposter syndrome. Right, okay. is jumping, like, how would you recommend someone who is newer, right, and is like trying to show themselves as an expert, that let's say they go on a listing appointment and they're 6 months in the business, right? Like, how do they, what's the word, kind of like compensate or make up for the fact that they're newer? What approach should they take?
They can do one of two things. Either you can work incredibly hard and be an expert in your area, be an expert on the market, know a lot about marketing the property, be genuine, connect with the seller, connect with the buyer, whatever you got to do. Or you can say, hey, listen, Ben, I got this listing appointment at this $5 million home in Scarsdale. I don't know anything about it. I know you sell a lot in Scarsdale. Can you help me?
Great idea.
And 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Let's be honest. So if you walk in there and you stumble over your words, you don't know what you're doing, you walk in, they say, well, how many homes have you sold in Scarsdale? And you go 0. And they're going to be like, okay, well, have a nice day. But Ben sells a lot in Scarsdale, and I'm going to help him, and he's going to be coming in, and I'm just going to be helping out Ben. So I got the lead. Ben gets half a listing. I get to learn from him because he's been in the business for so much longer than I have, and everybody wins.
That's freaking awesome.
So,
yeah.
And like I said, you don't have to bring somebody else in, but I did that for my first $1 million listing, and it worked out beautifully. We ended up selling it, and, those people are on to their next home.
How much did you learn from that too?
Oh, like... Johan, if you're watching this, we learned everything on that deal. Everything that could have gone wrong on that deal went wrong because I was newer and I was taking the lead, and I didn't do a lot of my homework. I didn't, know that much about marketing. I didn't know where those buyers were coming from. And through screwing up, I learned a lot, honestly. And every single deal I do, I learn something new.
Yeah. That goes on forever.
Yeah,
I feel.
Exactly.
It's there's always something new. Even when you think you've seen everything, there are so many variables. I think Murphy's Law does apply to the business. If something can go wrong, it will.
Yes.
But we are here to save the day.
Especially when you have horrible mortgage brokers.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah.
So seriously speaking,
yes.
Another thing that I think is kind of key is, because you've had a lot of growth over the past. How long have you been in the business, Mark?
A little less than 2 years now.
Which is insane. So, given how much you're doing, what do you? What's the right way to frame this? Like, what inspires you to do better or be better? Or like, how do you continue to sharpen your skill set?
So, I'm a big believer in, like we said, you're never done learning. You're always trying to find something new to be better at. I do believe it's something that's like inside you. You have to have, a little bit of hunger. You have to be a bit of a hustler. I watch the greats in this industry, the Ryan Serhants, the Josh Altmans, the everybody that's on, major social media platforms. And they're doing such amazing things. And I always try to associate myself with them, associate myself with their team, talk with them through social media, with a lot of like mastermind areas and like clinics and business stuff. So just surround yourself with people that are doing better than you are.
Yeah.
And I find that, there's always a way to push the envelope and be better. I think it just has to be inside you.
And that takes humility to say too.
It does.
Which is something that is fairly rare in our business, humility, especially the people that need it the most. I find that the biggest producers tend to be the most humble.
Yeah.
With the exception of a few, but they're open-minded. They've seen the ups and downs of the business, and they know it could go sideways at any second. Like for me personally, Mark, like I approach every day as if I have 0 loans.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And that's key. It's what keeps
because they're going to close.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to
a month or two later, they're going to close, and now you have nothing. So if you don't consistently fill up that pipeline, 2 months, you're not going to have a paycheck.
That's a good point. How do you manage your pipeline and manage that process, right? Because it's a balance of managing the deals, getting your current clients into contract, and then prospecting for new business. Like, is there a way that you structure your day, or is there a magic to that for you?
So there is a way to structure your day. I haven't gotten into it yet. A lot of highly successful realtors will time block, and they'll do a lot of lead generation in the morning. So I know people that, when we could cold call in New York, 3 to 4 hours a morning cold calling for sale by owners, expired listings. Is it still illegal? It's still illegal.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's sort of a loophole to get around it, but I won't mention that. Basically, if you talk to them 10 years ago, you can contact them again, and it's called following up.
Oh, okay.
And they'll never know the difference.
Gotcha.
So the major cold callers in the industry, odds are they've called you before.
Yeah.
So time blocking is huge. So you got to find time to lead generate. And then, as you grow in the industry, you'll learn how to convert better and set appointments every day. I was at business planning clinic yesterday, and I think based on our average commission, like 2 to 3 appointments a week, you're at $500,000 in GCI.
Nice.
So it's really not hard.
Yeah.
The problem is, if you were a new agent, I could give you all the tools to be successful, and I could tell you exactly how to do it, but nobody executes. And that's the problem. Yeah. So, you could know everything about mortgages, but if you don't pick up the phone and call somebody, or if you don't post on social media, or you don't call somebody back, you're not going to do any deals.
Agreed.
And you're not going to close any loans.
Agreed.
So, I think it's about it, honestly.
All right, man. So,
a coffee break.
This is another thing that I actually wanted to touch on too, is the difference in the business. Because again, you've been in the business almost 2 years, but why I find that so interesting is because you entered the business at an interesting time.
Yeah.
When there was a dramatic shift in the market. Like, what did you notice, or how have you changed your strategy from 2020, beginning 2020, when COVID first hit and basically the entire market went on pause?
Yeah.
Like, what were you doing then? What are you doing now that everything is opened up, or has your approach changed at all?
I wouldn't say the approach changed. I just got better at it. So I'm a big open house guy. I'm very good in person.
Okay. How many open houses do you do a week on average?
A week, usually, I'll do usually 2 a month.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I'll do the open house, and then the next weekend I'm out showing them properties.
Gotcha.
If I convert that lead and I actually connect with that buyer or that seller, I'm out on appointments. I'm out on a listing appointment, a buyer consult, or I'm out showing properties.
So you are having success meeting people at open houses?
Yeah, open houses and a lot of networking events and stuff like that. Okay. I'm very good in person.
You are.
And I don't like to sit down and cold call.
Yeah. Which is fair. A lot of people don't. I don't either.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've done it and it works, but not a good time.
Yeah.
I got into this business because I wanted to enjoy what I was doing while making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I think
Well, do you have a particular approach when you meet people at open houses that helps you convert them? Because look, a lot of agents meet people at open houses and they don't convert them. They basically, all right, here's the house, here's the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right, so.
I think same thing with meeting people in you know, generic areas. Like if you're at Starbucks, you got to connect with them on something. So find something. If they pulled up in a Tesla, oh wow, you know, that Tesla's so cool, and you know, how do you like it so far? How long have you had it, etc. If they walk in and they've got, you know, 3 little kids, and you know, maybe they're just about to be going into elementary, you say, oh, you know, are you looking into this area because of the schools? Is there a particular school district you're looking for? Oh wow, how old are they, or etc. Find something to connect with them on, and you're going to build that relationship. You're going to convert that lead.
So it's kind of the same kind of thing, right? Is make it about them.
It's sales skills, and it is about them. Yeah,
truth be told,
it is.
Yeah,
you know, because if you come to me and you say, hey Mark, I want to buy a house, I'm going to go, okay, what do you want to buy? And you go, 3 bed, you know, 2 bath. I'm going to go, okay, but what's important to you?
Yeah,
you know, is a
big
garage important?
Like 3 bed, 2 bath. Yeah,
is a big garage important? Are you looking for a specific school district? Are you looking for specific taxes? What's your budget? Are you pre-approved? Should I send you to Ben?
The answer is always yes.
Yes, always get them pre-approved. And so, you know, are you looking for an open space? Are you looking for a center hall colonial? Are you looking for acreage? What's important to you? Are you looking for a home with character? Should we look into tutors, etc.? You know, because it is about them. You gotta, it's, you know, as much as I hate to see it on realtors' bios, please stop doing this. Real estate matchmaker, stop saying that. It's weird. It's weird, but it is kind of true. You know, you got to pair the buyer or the seller with their home, with their new home. Yeah. So it's, you know, you just got to figure out exactly what they want and what their personality style is.
There's more to it than just checking the boxes.
Yeah.
And this is something that...
And that also helps you close them.
Yeah.
So if they're walking through a home and they see like, oh, well, you know, it looks perfect, but, you know, I don't like the green wall. And you're like, listen, this is in the area you want. It's close to the train. You can walk to the train from here. You've got this, you've got that. You got the big backyard. You're not going to find this anywhere else. Let's get the green wall painted. I know it's super weird because it's a lime green wall in your living room, but we can get that fixed. Let's talk about an offer on this property. And that's how you're going to convert more.
So that's absolutely massive. I'm glad that you said that. So, because what I find is, and again, I'm a mortgage broker, right? Yeah. But I do, you know, when I speak to my pre-approved clients and they're saying, you know, I'm having difficulty, like sometimes this will happen is that they'll tell an agent, right, that I'm looking in this area with this budget. And then 2 weeks later, they have an offer accepted with a completely different freaking budget in a completely freaking different area.
Yeah.
Right. Can you give any insight as to why that happens to begin with and how to stop it, or basically to find what someone really wants, even though they don't even know, like they're telling you something else?
So we went over this yesterday. Asking them why they want to move. Why do you want to buy a home? What's important to you? Kind of the whole script that I just went through. Like, what's important to you in your new home? Why is that important to you? When do you see yourself being there? Really dive deep into the client, really dive deep into what their needs are and what their wants are so that you can tailor it to a specific area. Like, I had met with a buyer earlier this year. He was looking to buy his first home. He really wanted a single family home, you know, like a raised ranch, pool in the backyard, big backyard for his kids. He wanted a nice school district. I'm like, okay, great. You know, that's the American dream. I get it. He's renting right now. He's like, I want to own a home and I want to own a house. I'm like, okay, great. And he goes, I'm like, where are you looking? And he goes, well, I don't really know. And I was like, yeah. And so he was in Yonkers at the time, and based on his budget, he was looking, you know, for what he wanted. He was looking all the way up in Dutchess County.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, I have no problem going up to Dutchess County for you because it was a referral from another agent. And so I will go above and beyond for my referral partners because you trusted me with your client. I'll take care of them. Always refer to me.
Good man.
So I brought them up there. I helped them check out a few things, and they weren't ready to pull the trigger on anything. Every showing they were kind of arguing at. But, you know, have they bought anything? No, unfortunately. Have I stopped talking to them? Kind of. But it's just the way it goes. Helping them narrow that down is really involved in the buyer consult. Yeah. Because you got to ask the right questions. You've got to ask the right questions. That's all sales is. That's all sales is.
It's the same pattern. It's asking the right questions and going into the why, getting deeper into it. This way you know what they want. And it's with every scenario, with the open house, with meeting new people, with setting up your sales script.
Yeah. It really is.
It makes a ton of sense.
And like I said, once you know more about it and what their reason why is for moving, you can help close them, and then you're on to the next deal.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to increase your 1099 at the end of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
make more money.
Which is what everyone wants.
And buy more cars.
Buy more cars. So we're getting there, Mark.
That's it.
We'll get there soon before, we know we'll be driving around in Paganis and just
that's it. That's
making
what we're here
it rain
for.
on these mother... You can bleep that out, Chris. Okay, so this is an interesting one, actually, because I'm genuinely curious to know what you're going to say. Is other than being a giant man,
yes.
Mark is 6'5", by the way. He's a big boy.
Should have been a quarterback.
Yeah, should have. It's not too late. What differentiates you from other realtors?
So it's a good question. And I had a feeling you would ask me that, and I still don't have an answer for you.
Gotcha.
But I'll try and answer it now. I think just marketing skills is number one, and just market knowledge is number two. At the end of the day, obviously the sales skills will be there. There are amazing salesmen and saleswomen in this industry. They're going to connect with you a little bit better than I am, based on your personality type or whatever it may be. There are people that, are better at pricing than I am. There are people that are better at marketing than I am. However, the fact that I never, ever give up on a listing, I've never had a listing fail to sell.
Nice.
Which is really nice. And I like to brag about that in a listing consult.
That's an accomplishment. Yep.
And part of that is, it's not me, by the way, it's the market. But I like to bring that up in a listing consult because it gets me the deal. But I'm constantly trying to figure out new ways to sell property. To get more exposure, to make sure that your home at 1313 Mockingbird Lane, because it's Halloween on Sunday, is going to be broadcasted to everybody so that every single buyer that is potentially interested in buying a home sees your property. And if they see it and it's $10 million and it's really only worth $500,000, they're not going to like it. So you got to know market knowledge. How many days on market is it going to be? Is it priced appropriately? What type of buyer buys this property? Where do they usually come from? Should I send an ad out to that area? The only reason I got a buyer for that $1 million listing from last year was because we put targeted ads in Queens.
Gotcha.
And that Queens buyer came in and bought that Bronx property.
Yep.
Now I know that a lot of Queens buyers are buying up in my area in Westchester and Bronx. So now I know to run ads out there. So like we said before, you're constantly learning, you're constantly figuring out new ways to sell properties, you're constantly figuring out new ways to connect with clients and close loans and all that good stuff.
Well, something that you said in the very beginning there, which I find so freaking true, is market first and then skill set, market knowledge second. So I know so many loan officers who have all the underwriting knowledge in the world, but they don't do that much business because they don't put themselves out there, and vice versa. I know some loan officers who are complete idiots, but they market themselves so well and they do a ton of business. Right. So it's a combination of the two, but marketing comes first, really. It's what keeps the bills paid. It's what keeps the pipeline full.
Exactly. And that's another thing where a lot of realtors in this industry and a lot of professionals in general, whether you're an attorney, you're a mortgage broker, you're a realtor, you're a real estate attorney, anything, you have to do both, right? You have to be knowledgeable about the market, knowledgeable about your product, your service, whatever you do, and you have to put yourself out there. And so usually people do one or the other.
Yeah.
Either they're spending hours cold calling and they build a good business, but I can't find them online because they don't have any online presence and they don't send out postcards. They don't
make
do
yourself
anything.
Easy to find.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy when I see people with private profiles in the business.
I love that.
Do you not want people to contact you? Or
you know what? I love it because they're not going to work with them.
Yeah.
Buyers and sellers are not going to work with them.
Oh, it's great for you. It's great for me. Absolutely. But it's just it's silly. When I see someone's profile, and let's say it's a public profile, it doesn't have the fact, I'm a realtor. This is how you contact me. It's like a picture of their dog's nephew or something, and there's nothing on it. It's like you don't want business. You have to make it
Yeah.
easy for people to contact you. Like there is a reason why, Mark, like I use the exact same picture
Yeah.
for every single thing that I have. My signature, my business card, Facebook, Instagram, everything is because it keeps the branding consistent.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, but a lot of people, they don't even have their own picture. It's it really boggles my mind, man.
Or, you know,
I think it's crazy.
It's a 20-year-old headshot from when they first got into the industry. And, you know, the realtor that shows up at your house is a completely different person.
Infamous. Yeah. This is a major problem in the business. And I think that we need an actual police type force for old expired pictures from 20 years ago.
You want to start
it?
Let's do it. All right.
I don't know who will fund it, but
I don't know. We'll just make an Instagram page and it'll be hilarious.
Yeah, not for profit. Oh my God. Dude, imagine if we did that and we just roasted everyone.
That'd be great.
Like we get their current picture and then their old picture of 20 years ago.
Listen, we got Instagram pages like The Broke Agent and Actually Agents, and shout out to you guys.
Yeah, those pages are amazing.
You know, they roast the industry.
Yeah.
And they still do a ton of business. So we can do that. But yeah, I mean, the major thing that a lot of people miss is they don't prospect, or they don't prospect enough, and then they don't market behind it. So they do one or the other. So if they're prospecting and they're cold calling or they're door knocking or they're doing open houses, and then you go home that night and you're like, oh, wow, you know, I met John at this open house. You know, he seems like a nice guy. And you go online, you check out John's website, and it just says, you know, find your home. And it's just a generic brokerage website. And you're like, well, you know, John maybe not so successful. Don't know anything about John. Forgot what his favorite color was already. I don't care. Yeah. That connection's lost. It's over. You didn't convert that lead. You're not going to close that sale, and you're not going to increase your 1099. So it's prospecting based and marketing enhanced. And that is the number one thing that I have carried on throughout this entire career of 2 years. But it really is important, because if I connect with you, like I said, on social media, and you check out my website and you see all the amazing things that are on my website, my reviews, my recently sold properties, my listings, etc., you're going to go, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. Yeah. But if, like I said, we connect on social and you go to my website and it just looks like a Zillow page, you're going to go, all right, screw Mark, forget this guy. Yeah. So it's prospecting based and marketing enhanced, and usually people do one or the other, like you said. Yeah. You know. And market knowledge. So
Mark, let's talk about social then. So what is your approach to social media? I don't know if it's advanced or it's basic. Like, how do you use it to, you know, fuel your business, basically?
So social media is tough because it is kind of like a part-time job. You know, it takes a lot of effort. You got to produce the content like we're doing here today. Like, could I be doing a listing appointment right now? Yes. Yep. But it's not going to grow my social. It's not going to, you know, enhance my image. It's not going to make me look good. So you got to create the content, whether it's taking a selfie at an open house, you know, doing an Instagram live, doing whatever it's got to be. It takes time and it takes effort, and you got to remember to do that. Yeah. The only other thing that that I do on social media is I try to connect with a lot of people. And I don't care if you're an agent or not. Maybe you're an agent in Kansas and you're going to send me a referral one day. Let's do it. Like, let's connect on social. Maybe I like your content and I'm going to steal your stuff because I do that. I'm going to be like, oh, I like that post. I'm going to do something similar. Let's do it. Or maybe you're awesome and I might connect with you and, you know, chat with you every day. Which I do. I have friends in Florida. I have friends in San Diego. I got friends in Boston that, you know, I've met once in my life and now we're best friends.
Because social helps you maintain that connection.
Yeah, it really does. And then, you know, I found people have found me through social media, reached out cold. Hey, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. Can you help me? And I'm like, absolutely, I can. That's why I post on social. Yeah.
And part of the reason I find, Mark, is, you know, for me, my social presence is, it's not amazing what I do, but it's consistent. Yeah. Right. So when people see your profile, because your social presence is kind of like a live resume, in a way. So when someone reaches out to you, and I think this goes hand in hand with what you were saying before, that you don't like to cold call. Yeah. You're more of a warm relationship, because I get the same thing, right? Like, part of it is that when people message me on Facebook, Instagram, it's not like, Ben, are you good at what you do? Ben, what are your rates? What are the fees? Yeah. What is your ranking? It's basically like, Ben, I'm looking to buy a home. What do I need to do? Yeah. Is that something you experience too? Yeah. I mean, I don't really have people that would reach out to me and say, like, you know, what do you do different about selling properties than I do? It's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. Can you help?
And so that really is helpful.
Well, the social platform on your content basically converts them for you.
Yeah.
It's already done. So
Exactly.
like when they're in your inbox, it's a warm lead.
Exactly.
Referral, yeah.
Which is nice. And, I don't do a lot of lead gen through social right now. I'm looking to. Obviously, I'm growing my following every day. But eventually, people will reach out to me more. I would say if I get like one a month, it's a lot through Instagram or Facebook. But still, one a month is one more than I had.
Yep.
What was the question?
That was it. Kind of like your general approach to social in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing too crazy. I don't do a lot of reels. I'm not a big video guy. This would probably be the most video that you see from me. I'm not the big, like, take out my phone and take a selfie or take a reel kind of person. Like, I'm more of a professional setup. Like, somebody else do it for me. Have a professional. But, I try to post 5 times a week, give or take. Yeah. I've been advised to do 7 to 10 and do a lot of stories and stuff like that because I work with an amazing team that advises me, and we'll get into that later. And they're amazing with branding. But, obviously I need to post more just so I can stay top of mind with my followers.
Well, let's flip that to the other side, right? Because it's one thing to post content, but the other part is interacting with people, with other people's socials. Do you have a specific approach to that, or just kind of random?
Nothing structured. It was I try to just connect with people and comment on other people's stuff.
If it's structured, then honestly, it's a little bit less genuine.
It is. If I go on every single post and like everything that you post, you're not going to reach out to me, first of all. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be like, if I go on your page and like 50 posts, you're going to block me. Yeah. Let's be honest. I'm going to look like a stalker. But if I DM you and say, oh, that's a really sick Aston Martin in your latest video, you're going to be like, absolutely it is. And, we're going to have a conversation around that.
Oh, something I like to do, by the way, just to...
Drive Aston Martins?
Well, of course, that's always fun. But like, I just like to fuck
Dress
with
up as 007?
That too. We got more of that coming. Yeah. Is like if I follow someone new, just to screw with them, I'll go to like the oldest post. Like I'll scroll all the way down and just like that.
Oh, you're that person.
Like nothing else, just to like get a little reaction. I do it once in a while, but it's fun. That's a fun approach to scare people. Yeah,
I can imagine. I don't know if I would notice that because I don't check my likes that often, but I'm sure there's people that do.
They like, hey, look, it gets a conversation going sometimes. Like, hey, you freak.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I've no shame in looking like a complete weirdo on social.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, you and I connected through social. I mean,
that's true.
You're in Long Island. I'm in Westchester County. If you guys don't know, that's not exactly close, but it's sort of close. It's like an hour drive sometimes with traffic. And we connected through social. I was like, holy crap, this guy closes a lot of deals. And then I was like, oh, he's a mortgage broker. That's why. But still closes a lot of loans because he's awesome.
Mortgage brokers close a lot of deals, man.
Yeah, well, I thought you were a realtor because you were like, oh, close, and I'm like, whoa, hang on. I was like, I gotta follow this guy. I was like, damn, he's doing all right. And then I was like, oh, he's a mortgage broker. And I was like, damn, all right, cool. But from that we started chatting, and now we're doing this podcast.
And let's expand into some shit talking.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
Is good.
This will be good.
So tell us about some bad experiences that you've had with both other agents in the business. No names, of course. Agents and loan officers.
Yeah.
What's like the worst interaction that you've had in your career?
So worst I've had with an agent so far is there was a listing agent on a co-op in Yonkers. That's all I'll say. And
you know who you are.
You know who you are. All right. You were yelled at for this. My attorney screamed at you. Let's be honest. So he was using the previous listing agent's photos from when his clients bought the home. And he was using them as the listing photos for his new listing. And they were 2 different colors because he was blending them with like photos he took with his iPhone with the previous photos, and like they were like orange walls and there was blue walls, and I was just like, what's going on here?
That's just weird.
Yeah, it's also illegal.
Yeah,
you'll get in a lot of trouble for that. And so when I wanted to get my offer accepted because there was multiple offers because this is the market, and so I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to bring it up. And then eventually the appraisal came through, and I was like, hey, listen, I know you have old photos. Can I get some current photos? And by the time we closed, there was an issue because my buyer was looking at the property online, and she thought that the shower had a glass door. and it actually had a curtain and a rod when we went through the final walkthrough. And so she was like, hey, listen, what happened to my glass door?
Yeah.
Because she was looking at it online. She was from Queens, and she was looking at the photos online. She's like, what happened to my glass door? You guys took it out. And the sellers were like, no, we didn't. It's always been like that. And she's like, but the photos show. Yeah. So the sellers were pissed off at the agent. My attorney was pissed off at the agent. I wasn't super thrilled. Yeah. My buyer wasn't super thrilled.
Just lazy.
Yeah, laziness. It's like $200-300 for professional photos. Honestly, just pay it. Seriously.
It's a business.
It's your branding. Yeah. It's your branding. Just drives me nuts. I've seen $1 million properties with like photos taken from a Motorola Razr. I swear to God.
Which is
a joke.
Well, Mark, I think you find this funny. I saw the other day as another agent posted it onto their story. Description from the MLS, which literally just said, "I don't know what to put here."
Big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you're selling someone's home, their number
you're
one
selling it.
asset, and you put in the description, "I don't know what to put here." It's comical, and it was real. It wasn't like some BS thing. It was.
That's such a joke.
This was the Long Island MLS.
That's such a joke.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Disgraceful. But again, if these morons can get business, it means you can too.
Yeah, you can get 10 times more.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's not just agents, it's loan officers too. I met with this guy, Ben Lavender. Oh, shit. No, sorry. You'll need a beep there.
But yeah, tell us some bad loan officer stories. It's always good to hear from an agent's perspective, right? What we do that you guys love and what we do that you hate.
Yeah. So without naming names, I recently closed a deal where the loan officer gave the buyer an understanding about their closing costs. And closing costs are expensive, guys, just in case you don't know, especially in New York. It's usually 4 to 5% of the purchase price for a single family. And prepping the buyer on that is very important because they're already putting down 10, 20% for a down payment. They're paying for appraisals. They're paying for inspections. And now they got to all of a sudden pay closing costs. So you have to really prep them on that stuff. And this person prepped them on a very large amount. And by the end, it was almost half of that. So he wasn't super happy with how his loan officer handled the closing costs conversation. Yeah. Now, maybe the loaning officer was new. Maybe he was, less experienced than some of us in the industry. However, do your homework. It costs nothing to do your homework. Go home, study, figure things out. Have that conversation with your client. Another one I got recently was a pre-approval from a buyer lead that I got from one of my listings for $800,000. And I didn't know the bank or lender that had given them the pre-approval. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go through, my own mortgage broker, get that checked out. And it turned out to be around $550,000 to $600,000.
So did the loan officer say why?
They didn't include taxes.
What the hell, man? Yeah. You just don't include taxes.
Yeah, I mean, taxes, fine.
So for those of you that don't know, when you're pre-approved, you have to take property taxes into consideration for the same reason that you just said before, Mark.
Yeah.
Closing costs are expensive in New York. Same with property taxes. If there's the taxes are anywhere from $8,000 to $30,000, which is not uncommon in New York, especially where you do business.
30,000 is still cheap.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, where you do business, it's significantly more. I know.
Yeah.
So it's like, because that is factored into your debt to income ratio, right?
Yeah.
So that's just bizarre. So I always, with the agents that I work with, of course, that, we always say refer who you can, but if you're not able to swing them, at least talk to the loan officer, go over the pre-approval, because it's not just the company, right? It's the pre-approval is only as good as the loan officer that wrote it.
Yeah.
Right. And that reviewed the file.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely key. And look, it takes you 5 minutes, probably less, to call a loan officer that you don't know and say, hey, just can you give me some perspective? What is your pre-approval process is like? I get those phone calls anywhere from 1 to 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a lot of loan officers get insulted, but you cannot blame the realtor, right? Because there are 600,000 loan officers nationwide. I'd say probably only 10,000 of them know what they're doing. So, given that, and I mean, it's a made up number, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was accurate.
Yeah.
So, given that, you can't really blame them, right? It's that they're the ones, like for us, it's easy because we sit, or at least I do, I sit at a desk all day, right? And so it's easy for us, but they're running around, they're driving, they're showing them home. So to take 3 to 5 minutes to quickly verify the pre-approval, as a loan officer, we should not be insulted. If anything, it is a sign of a good agent and potentially a good partner for you as a loan officer. So humble yourself and take that as, a chance to grow a relationship. Worst case, you don't, but best case, you do. And this way you get a deal done together. It's that simple.
Exactly. And, it sucks when you get a buyer lead or a seller lead and they're like, oh no, I don't want to work with your attorney, your lender, your inspector, your somebody. It's like, listen, I've gone through this. I've seen the worst and I've chosen the best. I choose the best to work with because I want to have the best experience for my clients and I want to have the best experience for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be chasing you around to get a pre-approval or an update or, is this loan clear to close yet? Or call an attorney and they're like, oh yeah, we'll call you back in 3 days. No, I want to work with the best. And so trust us when we recommend people. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
It's like, we know we've seen the worst, we've got the best, and we'll refer you the best. So
it's simple.
It is.
It's really simple, but there's a reason why.
And buyers and sellers, they're like, oh, you're in cahoots with them. Like, no, it's just I want to get deals done, and they get deals done.
Well, look, to be fair, that is a thing in the business, right? There are illegal kickbacks going on and plenty of shady people, but there are a ton of good people in the business too that do the right thing. And I find that doing the right thing is actually it is efficient, right? Because if you're being like sneaky and you're trying to pull off, you're spending so much energy.
You're trying to retire on one deal.
Yeah, exactly. And it never works because they'll always have a terrible experience. Like I know loan officers that work at like these smaller lenders that have bigger margins than us. And, one of the reasons why they only do 1-2 deals a month is because their rates are high, their service sucks, and they're trying to bang them and they're paying, the realtor quarter to a full point on everything, and which is completely illegal, obviously.
Yeah.
Honestly, like my opinion is that if you need a kickback, whether you're a loan officer or a realtor, not only are you breaking the law, but you are a loser.
And you're lazy.
You're lazy, and it means that you suck at your job, and you need to get better. If you need business or if you need money from another person, and I know realtors who, or I should say, I have known realtors that
probably
try
not
and
in
get
the business
kickbacks
anymore.
From the loan officer, the attorney, the title company, and the home inspector, right? And they just try and bang on everything.
Yeah.
And they are honestly the biggest losers in the business.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they don't get repeat customer service, because look, the people who are willing to pay and give you money are typically unethical people that don't do the right thing. So even if you're recommending them, they suck.
Yeah, exactly. And personally, I haven't come across anyone that's, offered a kickback or requested a kickback or anything like that. But it's like, it's too much, honestly. Yeah. It really is.
You're a freaking loser if you do it.
That's it.
Period. Okay.
So
let's get into some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Which, what's the best way to segue into this? We'll just go right into it. Talk about Serhant.
All right. So if you're watching this on social, I am coached by Ryan Serhant. I am part of his Sell It Like Serhant membership program. I am in the pro mentorship program. Costs a ton of money, but it's incredibly worth it. Yep. It's one of the reasons I'm here today, because you need to create content and you need to brand yourself and you need to position yourself in your market as the expert. And so that's what they really preach. It's absolutely awesome. They literally, like, if you sign up with them, they reach into your business. They go, hey, listen, this is where you're screwing up and this is how you need to fix it. And you're like, okay, great. Because I needed somebody to do that. Like, for the longest time, I was like, I wish somebody else would just look into my business and say, you're screwing up on X, Y, and Z, and ABC is how to fix it. Yeah. And they do that for you, which is awesome. Not only that.
Mark, before you go further, I want to kind of take a step back. A lot of people, almost everyone needs mentorship in some form or another. So obviously you have to kind of humble yourself and admit that, which a lot of people don't. But what was like the light bulb for you that said, hey, I need to do this to grow my career, and what made you decide?
So I had been I got into the Sell It Like Serhant course long before I actually got into real estate, long before I was licensed.
Oh, cool.
Like a month or two before I was licensed, and I got into the course. It's like $10 a month. I paid like $500 to buy the course. It was awesome. Highly recommended if you guys want. I actually do have an affiliate link.
As you should.
Yeah. And so I got into that, and it's awesome throughout the community, but I was like, all right, I pay, X amount of dollars per month, and, I get questions answered. There's some referral work that gets done through there. But the main switch was they offered a mastermind summit in Manhattan, in Soho, at their brand new office. And it was like a couple $1,000s, nothing crazy. But I went there, and it was like a baby version of the pro mentorship. That's what a lot of the pro members that were already signed up, they told me. They were like, this is like a baby version of pro. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, we're done. I was like, I'm buying pro. So that was really the switch to go full-fledged into mentorship, because now I have a little bit of cash in the bank. I can afford to go and get myself a coach. And like you said, everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach, guys.
Yep. Tim Grover.
Yeah, exactly. Relentless, great book.
Yep.
And so that was really the switch, because when I went there, not only was I surrounded by such amazing people in this industry that are doing 10 times, 50 times more business than I am, the ideas that flowed and the positive energy, and as hippie as it sounds, like, it is the positive energy. Because there are a million people in this world that'll be like, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or like, why are you investing in your business? It's a waste of time. Just go sell more houses. I'll sell more houses because I invest in my business. Yeah. And the mentorship program and the coaching and etc. So that was the main trigger to go into the pro mentorship program. The mastermind summit, there was 25 spots open, and I was debating whether or not that I wanted to go into it. And I actually called a friend of mine who is at the Bronx office that we have. And I was like, hey, listen, like, would you do it? And I was like, hey, this is how much it costs. This is, what they offer, etc. And they were like, you absolutely need to do this, because they knew I was a big fan of Serhant. I watch a lot of his videos. He's very inspirational. That's definitely an inspiration of mine, to be closer to his level. And his story is just great, because he went into a brand new market and crushed it. If you don't know Ryan Serhant, follow him on Instagram. So that was the switch. Like, I called them up and I said, listen, should I do this? And they were like, absolutely, you should. So I went down there, had the time of my life. It was like a 3-day vacation for me, but it was all work. And after that, I was like, yeah, like 3 weeks later, I signed up for pro. Gangsta. So that was the main switch. But it's absolutely awesome what they've been able to do for me, and referrals too. Yeah. Like, I get a decent amount of referrals through the not only the network, but from Ryan Serhant himself. Because he doesn't have a Westchester person.
It's amazing.
So I am that Westchester person.
There you go. Well, I think that's also key to say, because a lot of people are concerned about the financial investment, right? So you've made it, forget just the what it's done for your approach of the business, but you've made it tenfold just through referrals, through the people that you met through the event. Yeah.
Yeah, I've closed quite a few deals with them so far, not from Serhant himself. Those are just starting to roll in right now. But I closed a listing in Portchester earlier this year that we got through a Sell It Like Serhant member, and they were absolutely awesome clients. House sold in 6 days, over asked, because the market's crazy, and my marketing was good. And, made probably $8,000 to $10,000 off that deal. So that paid for the mastermind and the monthly costs and etc. So the money does come back.
Something to also mention, right, is that obviously, like, you got there and you worked hard and you showed who you were. It's not like you were like, I'm gonna sign up for this, meet these people, and they're gonna send me business. Yeah. You took it seriously. So I say that because if someone's watching this is like, okay, I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna get referrals. Yeah. It's not that simple, right?
You have to connect with the people, and there are people that signed up for pro. Like, I researched pro before I signed up, and I reached out to a few people, and the overwhelming response was, yes, absolutely do it. It's 1,000 times worth it. Just do it. And there was a few people that were like, oh, I didn't get much out of it. And I look at their social profiles and all that good stuff, and I'm like, that's because you don't do anything. Yeah. You're not connecting with your people. You're not building those relationships, and that's why they didn't make it, or they didn't find value in the service. And so, when I went down to the mastermind, I connected with as many people on Serhant's team as possible. Yeah. Not only because, they're New York City agents and they're awesome and they're crushing it and they're selling millions of dollars of real estate every single day, but because, one, you can ask them for any sort of advice that you need, and they're always reachable, and it's Manhattan. I want those Manhattan buyers to come up to Westchester. That's the trend.
They're going to.
Those
they are.
Those Manhattan buyers come up to Westchester constantly, and I want to be that person.
Well, you are at this point.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And so that was the goal, and that's what I did, and I connected with him, and I had great conversations. But if you, go to the course and you spend the thousands of dollars and you sit there and you just sit in the corner and you go, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do here, what's going on? You don't connect with anybody. Yeah. Nobody's going to send you business.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk to anybody. Like, there are people there that I don't know what their voice sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember their name or their market center, but I remember they were there.
And that's their fault.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything.
No, they didn't do anything.
So Mark, what is next for you with Serhant? What is, how has it evolved your business? What are you planning to implement that you learned from it?
So the content strategy is definitely number one. So branding. Like I said, they reach into your business and they fix everything for you. They tell you how to fix everything for you. Again, it's up to you.
What specifically?
So website, social presence, so LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. If you're doing TikTok, they'll do TikTok. If you're doing any other social apps, they'll do social apps.
Sweet.
They're not going to tell you how to fix Snapchat or something like that, but the main ones out there. Not only that, but they're going to actually force you to do lifestyle photo shoots. They're going to request that you do video shoots. They're going to show you exactly how to do video walkthroughs of your listings. They're going to teach you how to do, pricing strategies. Like, the insane amount of stuff that they teach you is just, it's 10 times worth the cost. But
before you continue, quick thing. So regarding the video stuff, the lifestyle shoots, I think a lot of people in the business are kind of shy when it comes to that stuff. I mean, what's your approach? Do you just get on with it, or does it not faze you?
Yeah, you have to get on with it. Yeah. Honestly, you start and then eventually you'll break out of that shell. Like, when I started in the industry, I was not, this confident person. I did not have high self-esteem. I was not confident. I wasn't great in front of the camera. I was not a great speaker. And I'm still not, but there's always room to improve, but I'm a lot better than I was. I would not have agreed to come down here and do the podcast 2 years ago. Because I didn't know what I was talking about, or I was afraid to be on camera, or I didn't want to speak, or whatever it may be. But it's just like a muscle, you have to train it. So you got to start. It's like the first day at the gym. You got to go.
What a great analogy.
You got to go. You got to go. And then eventually you'll just keep working at it. You have to have discipline to keep working at it, but you have to keep working at it. So it's just like if you want to lose 100 pounds, you got to do it. Yeah. You got to start. And that's the only thing that I can give people is just start.
Got it. Okay. There was more before I interrupted you. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So next thing with Serhant and, that whole coaching is just, I have a year-long contract with them. So I'm excited to go and see what's coming because I'm only in month 1. And they've already done so much for me.
Wow.
So the growth over the next year is going to be absolutely insane. It's hopefully exponential. Aside from that, I obviously want to sell more real estate, sell higher end real estate. So, just everything, build more relationships, build better relationships, and overall continue building the business.
What are your predictions for the market over the next couple of years?
Market is going to start to slow down. It'll depend a lot on mortgage rates. You know that just as well as I do. I was at the business planning clinic yesterday, and somebody had mentioned home sales are going to be increased by, or home sale prices are going to increase by 22%. And I don't think that's true, because you take a $600,000 house in Yonkers, which is pretty much a single family home, 3-bed, 2-bath, etc. And you bump that up 22%, it's not going to happen. That's $720,000, give or take.
Yeah.
You can't afford that. First-time home buyers will not be able to afford that. So prices will have to calm down until people's income can catch up.
Yeah. Which it looks like is starting to happen.
Yeah.
Because everyone's it's the great resignation because people aren't taking on jobs that they hate or they're not paying enough. So I think a lot of employers are already bumping salaries and income, and that will result in increased home prices, but not yet.
No, not yet.
It'll come. You think it's going to come down, then up?
I don't think it's going to come down. I think it's going to plateau for a little while.
Gotcha.
I do. I think we've had this insane bull run for 18 months, almost 2 years now, and where prices are just skyrocketing. And I think it's going to start to slow down. It's going to, it's reaching the top of that little peak. It's going to plateau for a little while, and then it'll just steadily increase from there.
Yeah.
Because interest rates rule all. If you have more purchasing power through your interest rate, then you can afford to overbid on that home by $50,000.
True.
But if it's all of a sudden interest rates are now 4.5%, in the next coming 2 years or whatever the Fed decides to do, then you can't afford that $1 million home. Now you can only afford an $800,000 home. And so you got to look at smaller homes, or, the price has to come down on that home.
Yeah.
So that's where I see the market going in 2 to 3 years. It's going to start to level out. It's going to start to become more of I don't think it'll be a buyer's market. We won't see anything like 2008, 2009, 2010, but it'll be less severe of a seller's market. Gotcha. We'll see like 4 months on market rather than,
1 day.
4 days on market.
Yeah. Which is just, everything just flies off the shelf.
And that's specific to Westchester and New York, because there are areas in other, states that are just 2 hours on market, 74 offers, like $100,000 over ask in cash.
The only counter to that is that we still have very little inventory.
We
right?
do.
So, but I do agree. If rates go up, it's going to push a bunch of people out. But the thing is, they're projecting rents to go up by 13% in 2022. And everyone's going to be like, well, screw this. I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
If they can afford to, which
Exactly.
again is difficult because so many New Yorkers, again, because life is so expensive here.
Yeah.
It's challenging to save money for a transaction.
It is. And especially if rent goes up. So now you're paying $3,000 a month for your 3-bedroom, and all of a sudden now you're paying a 13% increase. So you're paying $3,400 a month for your 3-bedroom. Now that $400 a month savings that you would have put towards a down payment is gone.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? You're going to work harder. You're going to get a promotion. You're going to get, a side job, or you're just going to continue renting. So that's why I see the market calming down, is because whether people like it or not, there are people that have to buy their first home.
Yeah.
And it can't just all be Manhattan buyers that have these insane budgets. So, people, everyday working, blue collar people making $150,000 a year got to afford these $700,000 houses.
Yes. Because that's who they're for, really.
Yeah, exactly. And there are also people that downsize. Like I have a client looking for like a $600,000 house in Yonkers, but she's going to be paying cash. So that's all well and good.
Must be nice.
Yeah. I mean, it must be nice to have that in the account. Got a proof of funds. So sorry, I couldn't send it to you, but cash is king. Winner takes all.
I don't blame you, man. I get it.
Especially in this market.
Appreciate it. I got you.
So that's where I see the market going. I mean, it's got to calm down. It's got to. We do have low inventory, and so buyers still can't be picky, but it's got to calm down.
Hopefully.
Price appreciation has to stop.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it's
we're
got to
up,
slow.
for the past 2 years, it's up 10, 15% depending on the market each year, which is freaking insane.
Yeah.
Okay, man. So any final thoughts to leave the audience with?
No, I mean, the one thing that I would touch on is just like, if you are considering getting into the industry, just know there are now more agents than ever.
Yeah.
But it's also a great time to be in the industry if you work smart and work hard. And that's the most, bland statement that I could put out there, but it's true.
You don't want to just be another statistic, right?
Yeah,
you want
it's
to
true.
approach this thing with ferocity.
And it's invest in your business, work hard, work smart, do your homework, and be humble. That is like the 5 pillars of becoming a successful real estate agent in 2021.
I think that's genuinely great advice.
Yeah, honestly, because...
And you can be humble and confident at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, which I think you do very, very well, Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Right, because you still you have the drive. You can be assertive, but you can also stop and say, okay, what can I do better?
Yeah, I'm not the king, but I'm trying to be there.
Eventually.
That's it. I'm trying to be like you.
Eventually. Yeah, right. The king of England one day.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
So 007.
Yes. Appreciate you, Marky.
Absolutely.
Great to have you on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Maybe we'll do a recap in a year, see where you're at.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys.
Alrighty.
Peace out. Have a great day.
Adios.